do next and how you rebound from that. That being said, though, you got a lot to rebound from. We'll figure out how they decide later on. We will be getting into Simple and Hysen versus Sarme and Neeze, like you're just pointing out. The second place going recently to Godly and Swada by the hands of one who currently happens to be sitting still here on the board.
And that is Sarme. No longer with Fozy, who was the teammate that he won summer championships with. He's here with Neeze, who's been doing a great job so far today with an unconventional pick. We're now seeing sort of a much more conventional team. And is Sarme going to get the knockout here? Neeze rotating over, hoping he can find a blaster's down air for the spike. Sarme now coming with the axe. It's axe v axe. Sarme versus Simple. A little bit of team damage there. It almost looked like Neeze was going to chase Sarme and recover him off the top.
I really wish that Sarme got that knockout on the left-hand side on that reversal so we could just get a replay of that later. Because of his reactions to how quickly he dodged that play from Simple trying to get the knockout. Cider does, in fact, get the knockout afterwards, though. Hysen struggling a little bit. 2 weapon tosses up. They're going to allow them to get a free cycle off. They do get Neeze immediately after that, though, answering back. So it's even set so far.
Sarme v Hysen over on the edge. In comes Neeze yet again. It's like the same thing, but this time it was against Hysen instead of Simple. Now, the result was a little bit different because Neeze actually got the KO on it, but you see the exact same plan of action regardless of what is going on. You see Sarme initiate the edge guard, and then Neeze come in to finish it off.
D-Light Cider does take out Sarme finally after all that. But one thing, just one more point to make of that, I think that Simple's going to have to be careful with how he goes off stage from now on. He did make it work there. It actually did work out there, so I'll take that back momentarily. But before that moment, he was kind of obvious in his edge guards, and that's how they were dodging him. Now Sarme falls pretty early.
Yeah, and Neeze might be right behind him. In fact, one of the only things that saved Neeze was I think he hit the final hit, or maybe one of the middle hits of a blaster's recovery on the right side. If he didn't hit that, getting the chase dodge up to reset his jumps, he was done, and he was going to be on his final stock very early, and that would not have given us the even game that we have now. It is still favoring the red team just a little bit because Simple is undamaged, and Neeze is much more damaged now on his final stocks compared to Hysen.
I will say Neeze got the damage done, though, because he was very unhealthy for a long time, and they were able to get Hysen into the red. So they can make this work. Weapon toss down. It's good idea, actually, on that point to not really try to overcommit because Simple was near the ledge. So if you did try to go down there for that ground pound and you missed, now you're looking at a potential 2v1. That was smart on Sarme to back off.
Seeing this one, Hysen still has not lost that stock. So we're going to get the 1v2 anyway. Neeze stuck all by his lonesome here against the 2 members of the red team. Neutralite, not going for the KO move from Hysen was not a misstep probably. Not just because Simple ended up missing the next attack after that, but like you see how damaged Neeze is. You could probably just find a KO move right there. They maybe wanted to add up a little bit more damage to 100% secure it, but seems like a little bit of maybe a miscommunication or a misstep there. Just a slight one, and it is game 1.
Yeah, and you can stay kind of calmish in that spot because against the lineup of Val and Ulgrim, not the easiest weapon lineup to deal with the 2v1 from Diana, because most of your stuff you're doing is either a committal thing to fade away, but it's not going to lead to easy knockouts, or you get onto Bow and you're trying to find D-Lights and then you get smacked by a Cider. So was pretty much checkmate for them the way they started. That being said,
what is going on?
How many times have we seen Neeze start off rounds where he sends someone straight to the skies trying to find like a knockout at white? Sarme weapon toss up though is going to at least get himself out of what was a really good early push from Hysen.
Dude, Simple is getting bullied though. He's already in the orange. You're seeing Neeze reach up with these bow neutralites. If Simple wants to be aerial, that's fine for Neeze. He's going to pick him out of the air with those neutralites. He did the same thing with Hysen. Nice ground pound there. It's not going to put him in too bad of a spot. Hysen's going to get back to the stage, hit a nice 3-piece onto Neeze. There's the 4-piece. In comes Sarme, relieving some of that pressure, giving him some room to breathe.
I think that's one of the best things that I've been seeing out of both these teams is relief of pressure, making sure that their teammate is never really uncomfortable. That is an uncomfortable spot, though. The Blaster dares and watching out for signatures from Zol over on the right-hand side, just try to sneak your way on. Hysen, very lucky that he made it past that.
Big dare. Simple doing his best to try and fight off both members of the blue team. They didn't seem to push too hard into that edge guard. So that was really what the red team needed. So Hysen could recover back. They end up getting the KO. Hysen is still alive on his first stock. So he's sitting pretty good here. Again, they're adding this damage up on Neeze. He seems to be more of the main target. I don't know if that's just because the red team's focusing him or he's having some misplays here or there. Hitting that neutral sting in orange could be disastrous. That weapon toss might have just saved Neeze.
Hysen refuses actually to fall, Sparky. Like, he finally falls now that it's been pointed out. But he was so good on defense for so long. This is actually a huge play if the blue team can somehow knock out Simple here, because that will mitigate a bit of this defense that Hysen has had all set.
Great weapon toss from Simple there, putting that above him to sort of interrupt the onslaught that was coming from the blue team. That's one of really the only reasons that he is still alive in this one. The only other reason was that Hysen was there. Hysen was his teammate there, fighting off, pushing away both members of the blue team. Are they going to get the trade? No, they're not. Sarme still living. Again, that 45-degree angle, man.
Look, just get Neeze away from Simple, and you'll be fine, because that's been a big problem with them. Hysen does eventually get the knockout on a Sarme, and Hysen's defense once again playing away. But look at how quickly they jump over on a Simple. It's like, okay, look, let's not focus on Hysen then. Let's just go keep putting this damage on.
Neutral light came out. Sarme came in with the unarmed follow-up. They weren't able to turn it into too much just because Sarme was unarmed. All he had was that unarmed recovery, and there were also both members of the red team there. Neeze ends up falling. Sarme all by his lonesome. That is a risky move. He's going to take some damage from that. Ends up getting procced into the orange. He should be red pretty soon. D-Light ground pound coming out from Hysen. Hysen is just taking control on the edge here. Simple comes in for a little bit of help, the assist, and ends up cleaning up the KO and cleaning up that game.
Worthwhile play, too, to attempt to go for the ground pound, because you're up a stock. No reason not to. If you catch him slipping, you make him go lower anyways, which allowed Simple to go ahead and finish the deal. Hysen, once again, the MVP pretty much of the first two games, because as strong as everyone else has been, Hysen refuses to get knocked out. And that is a big problem, considering that we saw Neeze and Sarme kind of speedrun their first match into this point, and now they're looking at what could be a 3-0.
It's crazy because Hysen's refusal to be knocked out, he's not even taking that much damage overall. He only took 390 damage that entire game. That's way less. Simple took 520, Neeze took 610, Sarme took 533. So what's 390 divided by 2? I gotta pull out my phone for this one. My brain's too small, Ajax.
Sarme is gonna have to think about this decision to switch off as well, because it was knocked out instantly. Like you're saying, Hysen's refusal to get hit is nuts, and that's actually crazy how quickly they're able to get rid of that stock off the start. I don't know what they're going to do as an answer. I just realized it's a double switch for Sarme and Neeze. Not even just one.
Oh, yeah, it is. I have not seen that skin on Brawlhalla in at least 400 years. Maybe even 500 if we're really adding up. But just to give you a math update, it's 195 damage that Hysen was averaging between his two stocks. And I bet it was about that. If I'm looking at the graph, the peaks are at about the same height. So, yeah, that's huge. Not only is he refusing to be knocked out, but he's also not taking a lot of damage in the process, which is great.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's pretty much sustained exactly the same pattern on both ones. They did, however, get edge-guarded kind of early here on these stocks, so they did work out. The gauntlets definitely making a big difference here for Neeze, at least, to start things off. That being said, though, Sarme looking very similar to the first stock, getting a lot of damage put on. They did get a free 2v1. They do close them out afterwards, and they have an opportunity to close them out here. The recovery comes through, and they get a double knockout once again onto the blue team.
And that's where Simple was more than happy to end up hitting his teammate with that neutral signature, because it didn't do that much to Hysen in the long run. It's going to add up some damage, but he's in the orange, not going to lead to a KO, not even going to put him in a KO-able position, really. But it did lead to the KO onto Sarme. So there was huge impact by hitting both his teammate and the opponent. Good trade.
They do have minimization so far on the damage taken. It's not been that bad. The ground pound comes through, but it misses out on Simple. Sarme trying to go and get the reflect off the side air, but instead Neeze falls in the middle of all of that. Ground pound comes through. He hits Simple. Simple does not get back. He gets a ground pound again. This makes it a slightly, ever so slightly more doable for Sarme to try and get a 2v1.
What is going on in this EU top 8? Coco, Spyrox, Hysen, Simple, that was a 3-0. Acnoblaze, Godly Swada was a 3-0. Neeze, Sarme, Psiotic, Sageru was a 3-0. And we're possibly looking at a 3-0 here. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 6 sets in this top 8 have been a 3-0.
And in the middle of all that, in teams you might not have expected, but Hysen and Simple finish that trend. They get the 3-0. They knock out Sarme. They knock out Neeze, sending them packing at 5th place. Got to be feeling pretty good about 5th place, but I guess here's an interesting, weird stat. Godly and Swada, previous champs, 5th place. Our last champion, the remainder of the two, just went out at 5th place.
And Fozy, another of the champion that made up the Fozy Sarme team, even behind that. So don't win a tournament because then you'll lose a tournament by a lot. That's the trend that I'm seeing.
I am hard-pressed to believe. I know that this is a crazy thing to even try and say.
Oh,
and I know that they won.
Say it, brother. Talk to
something tells me that Acno and Blaze don't make top 3.
Don't?
Did
you say don't?